Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Democratic View. I'm the hostess. My name is Phyllis Italiano, and we're going to test my ability to remember a name as I introduce Chrystal Poeshi, correct? Mm-hmm. And Frank Quedevo.
Very good.
With a little Italian accent.
A little bit.
Okay. And these two lovely people are from a wonderful resource we have out here called the South Fork Museum. And if you haven't been there yet, you'll surely want to go after we finish with this interview. So let's start by you telling us a little bit about ourselves, or yourselves. We all know about me. Let's hear about you.
My name is Chrystal Poeshi. I was born and raised in New Jersey. My family had greenhouses where we grew amaryllis and paper whites and tulips, so I was introduced to the natural world very, very young. And all through high school, my parents noticed that I really liked the natural world and just learned about it easily. So I eventually got a scholarship to LIU Southampton College. I was part of the last graduating class of LIU Southampton College in 2005. But before I graduated, I was lucky enough to get an internship with what was going to become the South Fork Natural History Museum the summer before they had the grand opening. Very lucky for me, the grand opening happened to be 2 weeks after I graduated, so I became the first nature educator there in 2005.
What a great story. Wow. And once you hit that Shinnecock Canal, you said, I ain't going anywhere else.
No, fell in love with the area and had no reason to leave.
I know, it is an incredible place, isn't it? And Frank, tell us about, first of all, we have to say that your family is from Lima, Peru.
Correct. They are from Lima, Peru. They immigrated here to the United States. I believe my dad was here first in the late 50s, and then my mother followed probably, I think, in 1963. She came to the United States. I was born in the Bronx, New York. Was raised in Yonkers, New York.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, well, I was born in the Bronx, New York.
Misericordia Hospital, Bronx, New
no,
York.
I was born in, I have no idea, but I wasn't in a hospital. Wasn't a hospital. I know I was the only child born in a hospital. But also, I had many years in Yonkers Public Schools.
Yeah, actually, my mother was a teacher in the Yonkers Public School System for over 30 years.
Really?
Yeah. I think we spoke about this.
I think we did too, now that I remember it. But what high school did you go to?
I went to a private Catholic school, Sacred Heart High School.
Yes, I know
about a mile away from where I grew up. From there, I graduated high school and went to Iona College and got a 2-year degree in business administration. I worked on Wall Street briefly and did some business ventures, but they just didn't work out, and I decided to go back to school to pursue a dream of mine. It was to become a marine biologist. So as Crystal's had said, she went to LIU Southampton, so did I. I went to LIU Southampton, graduated in 1998, and worked at the East Hampton Town Shellfish Hatchery for 13 years as a bay management specialist. And the department was to restore shellfish beds in the town of East Hampton. And I did that for 13 years, and the position as executive director opened up. I applied, had 2 job interviews, and landed the job in 2010. And I just completed my 5th year as the executive director of the South Fork Natural History Museum.
Tell me a little bit about the South Fork History Museum. When did it start?
The South Fork Natural History Museum was created in 1989 by 7 founding fathers. They were all naturalists. Andy Sabin, Jim Ash, Larry Penny, who we know from the town of East Hampton.
Yes, of course we do.
Gene Held, Chris McKeever, Kim Hicks, and Jerry Peretz were the 7 founding fathers. And their goal was to create an organization which was twofold. Well, one purpose was to discuss the past, present, and future of the South Fork Natural History Museum's natural environment. The other purpose was to elaborate and bring in things and discuss things that people are finding on the South Fork of Long Island and discuss it as they're seeing it at the present time. So for 16 years, the organization was at a small little clubhouse in Amagansett. And after probably the longest capital campaign to try to find a museum, a state-of-the-art museum and a property, and the dream of the founding fathers in the organization was to have a place where people could come, look at exhibits, and perhaps have a place where they can have a gateway to a natural preserve. And we found that property in 1999. 3 acres on the Bridgehampton-Sag Harbor Turnpike on the Long Pond Greenbelt Preserve. It used to be the old Bridgehampton Winery. I don't know if you remember the Bridgehampton Winery in Bridgehampton, but that winery lost their funding, and that property was available for the organization to purchase the 3 acres. So it took several years for the renovation of the winery to become the state-of-the-art museum as it is now. And in 2005, we opened our doors to the public, and we've been there for 11 years now. But we've been nature educating for 26 years. So we've been around for a while, and it seems as though the community has been taking advantage of what we offer, and the programmings that we offer are really bringing people back, and hopefully we can create stewardship and caretakers for our planet for the future.
I got to know you really through my daughter, who just moved out here as a Yonkers teacher, as a matter of fact, who has a young daughter, and who is also very interested in anything about nature. And so she started going to all of these wonderful exhibits, and we went, the first one I went to was one at night about butterflies and moths, you know, the difference between them and stuff, and what we were looking at. And it was actually, I think, dusk to night. And as a matter of fact, there was a butterfly or a moth, I don't know, it was in my house this last week, and I said, oh my God, I gotta try to get this to get it out, you know, so I can save its life, you know. I don't know what happened to it. It flew away somewhere, and I hope the cat didn't get it.
Yeah, during that program, during that moth program, which I believe Nicole was doing, that was last year? Was it this past summer?
Is this past
so it was
summer?
Nicole, and who else was there? It might have been,
Molly.
was it Molly, maybe?
Well, Tyler helped her out.
Probably Tyler helped her out, yeah. So, you know, the premise of that program is to go out at night, shine some lights at different locations in the back of the field, and every 10, 15 minutes as it gets darker, more moths appear, different types of varieties of moths. And the whole premise of that program is to introduce children and adults to the wonderful world of moths and butterflies and what they're attracted to, you know.
Right, exactly.
And then to kind of, you know, look at the different varieties is what makes it special. And then every hour another variety appears, you know. So you can stay out there till 2 a.m., which we used to do, and get the, you know, the polyphemus moths and the luna moths that would come out, huge moths. It's magical, but most importantly, it's a connection to nature.
We once had a luna moth get into the house, and so carefully, my God, what a gorgeous moth.
It's beautiful.
Unbelievable.
It looks like, it's alien-like, and
looks
it's
like
magical.
an angel.
It does.
Yeah. It looks like, you know, a little angel came down from heaven.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I like my house so much. Must have blessed my house. But anyway, it was just a wonderful evening. And I said at that time to my daughter, you gotta bring me on more of these things, you know.
Well, that was just one aspect of programming that we provide at the museum. We used to do, maybe 20 programs a quarter, and now we're doing close to 50 or 60 a quarter. Wow. So, you know, one of the jobs and responsibilities of myself and Crystal and the rest of the staff at the museum is to come up with new ideas each quarter, each season. We're open year-round, so that means that we want to provide programming. Even when people don't think there's a lot of stuff to do in our natural world, in the winter, there's plenty to do. So we're open year-round, and we try to create programs that'll bring people to the museum so we can connect them to the different seasons and the natural habitats and wildlife that are out here all year-round. So.
Because it is such an amazing place, really and truly.
It's an amazing place.
I mean, when a turtle comes walking out of the woods, of course, it's like, wow.
Yeah. I think Crystal and I feel very fortunate that we went to school for this purpose, to get involved in our natural world as marine scientists, and we're able to stay here and find work here, and then provide the knowledge and the backgrounds that we obtained through school and through our experiences, through direct observation is really what it comes down to. And we want to present programs so that people can get direct observations in our natural world so that they can become caretakers of our natural world in the future.
And then we did another one where we took off from Sag Harbor in a boat and went around, and it was just amazing. First of all, I had never really done that. I mean, on that kind of a boat trip, to just even look at, you know, all of this wonderful water we have around. It was so lucky.
Yeah, that was a co-sponsored program with Sound Waters of Connecticut. They're also a marine education organization from Connecticut. And they have a science lab on a boat.
Yes.
And they actually came over to Sag Harbor on that one evening,
Yes.
loaded everybody that signed up for that program, and they took us around Northwest Harbor.
Right.
And they basically took out live animals and marine organisms that are associated to that environment that we were actually sailing around. So they were showing sea robins and sea stars and urchins and flounder that they collected and were going to be released.
It was amazing.
And what's really nice about it is that, you know, our museum has a marine touch tank as well, where the kids can come and hold sea stars and urchins and hermit crabs. But to be sailing in that environment was really unique and special. So
Oh, it wasn't an
yeah.
unbelievable,
Yeah, it was a really
unbelievable
nice event.
trip. And then we took another one, which
we like this. We like that you're on a lot of these programs. That is the whole purpose.
Well,
of
the one we took to Baiting Hollow to see the refuge for the
hummingbirds.
hummingbird.
How special was that?
Oh my God, that was so incredible. First of all, to go to Baiting Hollow, and I came out to the North Fork as a mere slip of a girl. I always say I was 50 years old. I don't want anybody to know how old I am, you know. But I was out there really in the early 50s. It was nothing.
Right.
It was, you know, just potato farms
Right.
and squash farms and things like that. And when I went to Baiting Hollow, I thought, you know, this is the way James Port looked in the 50s. And to be there and look out over that expanse of water and what was across the way, and the way this man has all of these marvelous hummingbirds. It was just mind-boggling.
Yeah, and I wasn't there for that program, but I understand they were just flying all around everybody, right? I mean,
They were unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, really unbelievable.
It's a
We were, our mouths were open the entire time. It was really an amazing trip.
yeah. Well, our mission at the organization is to connect people to an experience like this. And your energy and the response that you're indicating to me from that program is very rewarding to us. So
Well, as a matter of fact, that's how I went over to a friend and said, "Oh, you should have seen what I did
Great.
today. I was in Baiting Hollow. I was with the South Fork Museum History." And she said, "The what?" And then I said, "Wait a minute. You're here 15, 16 years longer than me. You don't know what this is, you know?" And that's when I said, I got to have them on. They've got to tell us what they do. So tell us some of the other things that you offer for people.
Well, we do a lot of programming, which I think Crystal maybe could elaborate a little bit more about programming and what she does, because what's unique about our museum is that we have Crystal and other nature educators on site every day, taking people around and looking at the exhibits and giving the information necessary for them to understand what it is that they're looking at in the museum. We don't want people to continue to come to the museum. We want them to understand the basic information about how to become stewards and understand the sensitivity of our natural world, and then go and enjoy it on their own, you know? Go out there in your backyard, look at the birds, go for a walk in the woods, understand that plants are connected to birds, and birds are connected to the water, and everything is connected, and we're connected to it. So I think Crystal, being a nature educator and a naturalist at the museum for 11 years, could probably give a little bit of an insight and input on what exactly she does at the museum.
It's yours, Kristen.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Well, I've been doing this programming for about a little over 10 years now, and I found it's best just to get the whole family out there. And most recently, I've done some family programs in salt marshes, and I also took a family program to the walking dunes this past Saturday. And parents are amazed, like the kids are not even thinking about their computers or iPads or their TV shows. They're out in the water, they're digging, they're getting dirty, and the parents are thrilled with this. We would take a two-person seine net, and I'd take one end, and I have a kid take the other end, pull this net through the water and see what fish or crabs we caught, and then most important thing is get those animals back into the water. So all the kids are diving into the net, grabbing the fish, putting them in buckets. Some kids chose to draw, some chose just to watch them. Some went hunting hermit crabs. They find a crab claw, come running up to me. What is this? What is this? I'm like, oh, you got a spider crab. Good job. Or you found a mud snail. Or they dig up a fiddler crab hole, and there goes the fiddler crab, and then they're chasing the crab, and or they're watching the terns dive into the water looking for fish. This past one, the walking dunes, we had a few different stops. because the kids each got a backpack of naturalist tools. So they got a notebook, they got binoculars, they got little clear jars that they could put their treasures in, shovel, magnifiers of all different sizes. And first stop, we did leaf rubbings, which is great because for little kids, they're not great at drawing, and sometimes some of them feel a little self-conscious about that. But the leaf rubbing, you put a leaf under a piece of paper, you take an old crayon that has no paper on it, and you rub the flat side on it, and you get an exact copy of that leaf. So it's a way for everybody of every age and every artistic skill to record what they saw. And the kids got to take the notebook home, and my hope is, and it has happened many times, they come back on more of my programs with their notebook, and they want to show me, look what I found in my backyard. Oh, we went to the bay this time, or we went to Maine, look what I found, and they'll show me the notebooks. And it's also, you get the ones that at the beginning of the program, you can tell that their sibling really wanted to go and they didn't, and they're just kind of there and just tolerating it. But by the end, they don't want to leave. They're so amazed with what's there. They think, oh, we're just going to the bay, or we're just going to go look for shells. And by the end, they're showing me every single thing they can find. And actually, it's great going with the whole family because everybody's at different heights looking in different places. When I do a trail, I'll hike the trail on my own to get an idea, but then whenever I go with kids, they're closer to the ground. And one time in the woods, we found a beetle that was this big, bright, shiny emerald green. And I would not have seen that without the kids. And I have a backpack full of field guides, and we took it out, and I asked them questions, and we flipped through the field guide and found out it was a 6-spotted tiger beetle that specialized in eating ants. And earlier on the trail, we found an ant colony and told them that this is important, it's food for animals. They asked me, well, who eats ants? Later on the trail, we found one of the animals that eats ants, and it's this absolutely gorgeous beetle. Wow. So the kids make discoveries, the parents will make discoveries, and even if I don't know the answer, I at least have the resources with me to help answer, and I'm learning too. So the bigger the group, the more we find, even the more I learn. That's one reason I love this job, is I'm learning too, and I'm helping to other people to learn, just to discover things.
Oh, so that's wonderful, because you know what? Also, by having these experiences with nature, it makes you, as a young child, become, sort of like an environmentalist yourself. You know what's at stake. So you know that this is what we have to protect.
Correct.
And we have to make sure that we can continue on with this stuff.
Correct. We always look at it as we're borrowing it from our children. That's how, and it's our heritage and our legacy to preserve and provide information so that generations will appreciate it for years to come. That's what it comes down to. Stewardship is really what it comes down to. That's what we try to achieve in our mission at the organization. So, and just her enthusiasm.
Yeah.
That was just one program that she was just describing. We do many different programs.
Well, by the way, I have one question I've always, where are the walking dunes? Because I see them.
They're in the Hither Hill State Park, but they're kind of set back at the end of Napeague Harbor Road. I think it's Seacrest Hotels are on the south side of the highway, and then the Hither Hills Racquet Club is on the north side, and that's the road, and take it all the way to the end. It's a beautiful 1-mile loop trail, and you come back along the bay. Going up the dune can be a little tough, but once you're at the top, the view is just spectacular. Really is. And that's where we practice using binoculars. Didn't matter what they were looking at, but they could actually look all the way to Springs from the top of this dune, where they look down at the bottom of the dune and see a bog. Yeah, it was this past Saturday was beautiful for it. Perfect fall day, so it was nice and clear. And you see all of Napeague Harbor and across, and we saw the Springs.
You can stay up there and see hawk migrate, birds migrating like northern harriers, utilizing the wetlands in the marsh looking for food. You can see bald eagles.
We did get a red-tailed hawk that day.
Red-tailed hawks, resident red-tailed hawks. So, just going to that environment and looking and walking in the walking dunes will provide a whole bunch of different experiences, with plants and animals and foxes and turkeys. And
in the winter, snowy owl likes to reside there too.
Snowy owl likes to go there in the winter.
Really?
From the Arctic tundra, they move south during the winter months, and sometimes they take residence here till the spring, till they go back up to the Arctic again. Yeah, we've seen them. Oh yeah. You got to come on some of our bird walks, and we'll get you to the snowy owl. Yeah.
I mean, we know a lot about birds in our family because my son is a birder.
Excellent.
So birds have always been part of our thing. But how old are the kids that go on these kind of things?
Some of them, in this past walk, I had 2-year-old to
Wow.
8, plus their parents. And I have other programs for teens, and then we also have, sometimes we have story times for the really little ones. We have experiments for different ages as well. The story times are becoming more interactive, or we've had ones where the puppet tells the story to the kids, and there's a craft afterwards for the little ones. Once you get into more kindergarten to early elementary, you can start doing a little more in depth and having them solve problems or put things together. And then the teens and the adults, we can do lectures or movies or discussions. So we have a wide range of programs for all ages.
Okay, so what do I have to do if I'm listening to this show? What do I have to do to get involved? Where do I go?
Well,
what do I do?
Well, we're located at 377 Bridgehampton Sag Harbor Turnpike in Bridgehampton, New York. We're right across from the Children's Museum of the East End. What you do is we're open from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So we're open 7 days a week, all year round. We only close on the 4 major holidays, which are New Year's Day, Easter Sunday, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. And then we're open every day after that, in between. So from 10 to 4, we're open. There's memberships available, family memberships, individual memberships. And what's the other category?
Friend.
Friend memberships, which enables you to bring more friends and more people as guests under your membership.
And so if I want to know what your program is, let's say I have somebody coming out, which I do this weekend. I have a 10-year-old coming out. Well, how would I find out what you have to offer for this weekend?
You go on our website, www.sofo.org, and click on calendar, and you can see what we have. We post our calendar by quarters. So right now we have up October, November, December, and near the end of December and early January, we'll have January, February, and March's calendar up. And we'll have the age ranges listed. Some programs are just for adults, some are for younger kids, some are for older kids, some are for all ages. So yeah, check out our website. There's a lot going on.
Give that website again, slow.
www.sofo.org.
Oh, that's pretty easy.
Yeah, SOFO is in South Fork.
Yeah, it's in South Fork.
We're better known around as the South Fork Naturalist Museum, SOFO. People.
I know you are, but I just want to make sure that everybody gets it so they know what to do. I know another one of the ones that my daughter did, which was I think you left from Hampton Bays and went all the way around and we did an enormous boat trip.
Yes, the Marine Bio boat trip.
Oh,
Leaves from the Southampton, SUNY Stony Brook Southampton College Marine Station.
That's it.
And they do trawling, and then it's kind of the same thing, but as you're in the middle of the bay, and then the kids get to dive in, dig through the seaweed, and you can find seahorses, trumpet fish, cornet fish. Sometimes in the middle of summer you get angelfish.
Yeah, people don't realize that we have tropical fish that come up here from the Gulf Stream. As larvae, as juvenile fish, they come up from southern waters through the Gulf, up the Gulf Stream, which is located 100 miles south of the South Fork. And what happens is these eddies occur off this Gulf Stream current, and all these little fish that have been developing on their way up north start scattering to shallow waters to find refuge, to hide from predators. So during the summer months, we get tropical fish such as butterfly fish. We get groupers, snowy groupers. We have a couple of snowy groupers, striped burrfish. So it's a tremendous environment to look for exotic fish as well, besides,
I was in the water once in the bay of this last, I guess it was after Labor Day, and I saw something in there that I have never seen before, and I wanted to go at him in my car and draw it real quick so I could then go and see. But I didn't do that. Instead, I continued swimming.
There's a lot of interesting jellies around, and then there's also things that are kind of like jellyfish but not, and they're just a colony of soft animals that form this long, clear tube.
I've been seeing them for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The good news is most of the jellies, if they're clear here, they can't sting us. It's the ones that have color that can cause some irritation. and
Yes.
be a little uncomfortable. But
I've had
Not
that
too
too. Swam into them.
yep.
Lion's mane.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, those are quite itchy.
You know, offshore, there's actually Portuguese man-of-wars that float off the Gulf Stream as well. I've seen them offshore. They're
Some washed up in Fire Island this year.
yeah, Far Island. So things are expanding.
You
Like
know,
all
I
like,
am a 35-year Fire Islander.
Ah.
I went there for 35 years.
Mm.
And when Great South Bay was alive
Oh.
as well, which of course is not quite what it was in the
Actually,
in the old
70%
days.
of all the hard clams harvested in the United States, I think 70% came out of the Great South Bay years
Was
ago.
incredible. I always tell
Amazing.
the story about how the scallops used to dance along right at the shore, right where you got out of the boat, and you'd look over there, and there would be these scallops dancing along, you know, and you just pick them up in
Yeah.
bushel loads,
Yeah.
you know. But
Well,
that
that's,
ended.
That's when eelgrass was a habitat that was abundant back then, where our eelgrass beds are slowly declining because of water quality and brown tide that occurred a few years back. And this habitat is a nursery for a lot of the juvenile shellfish and juvenile finfish that need to develop in this habitat to move into deeper waters as they get larger. So
And the best way to get people to care about all of this is to start them when they're young.
exactly.
That's why your program is so important, so that all of our children will grow up knowing that if they don't take care of it, it ain't going to be there.
That's true.
When they're older.
Exactly
Thank you
right.
so much, Frank.
Thank you, Phyllis.
And
It was a
Crystal.
pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Oh, it was my pleasure. I
Thanks
love
so
hearing
much.
about it. I'm going to go on your sofo.org and find out what you have to, because I got to do more. It really is a great experience.
Well,
It's a
thank you.
wonderful, wonderful thing, and I recommend it, folks. If you haven't done any of these things, you need to get out there and take a look at what we have here.